Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you guys so much for joining me here today for a brand new pick a card reading. For those of you that are new to my channel, welcome in. My name is Melissa, and today's reading topic is going to be a career reading. Specifically, we're going to be diving into the topic, will I get this job? So, essentially what we're doing in this reading today is kind of an energy check-in with regard to any specific job that you have been applying or interviewing for. Really, this reading is going to be best for those of you that have already done at least one interview for the position and are still maybe within the interview process, or maybe have closed out the interview process and you're waiting to hear back. So what I'm going to be doing in the reading is looking at kind of the overall status of the job as it stands today. Then we're going to take a look at how you were perceived during the interview process. So like, how did you come across? Maybe what impression you left on the person interviewing you or the company. We're going to take a look at when you may potentially hear news about this role. And then we'll also dive into how you would feel in the job itself. So kind of a really multifaceted reading here, but great for any of you that are just curious to dive a little bit deeper into a job that you're interested in and that you've been interviewing for. So just as a disclaimer, guys, if you haven't yet interviewed for this position and you've only just maybe submitted an application, or maybe even if you haven't applied yet, this probably is not the best reading for you, because this is really kind of dedicated to those of you who have already kind of been interacting with the company or person interviewing you. So on to my disclaimers that I always make in every video. This is a general reading, so some messages will resonate while others will not. It's a great time to use your own intuition to discern what is a message for you and what is a message for someone else, okay? This is also a reading that is timeless, and with it being slightly predictive with some of the time frames that we're getting here, just keep in mind that energy is always changing and the future is not set in stone. So if you see a time frame predicted out in this reading, again, just bear in mind that it's general and that it is changeable depending on the actions you take or the other party takes leading up until the conclusion. If you guys do want to book a more personal reading, you can do so. All the details on how are linked in the description box down below, and I do offer a specific dedicated career reading where we could recreate something very similar to this. All right, so let's go ahead now and transition into our deck selection or card selection. So I'm working with 3 piles for today's reading. Starting here on the left, we have pile 1, and the crystal that we're working with here is a Selenite or satin spar crystal. For group number 2, we are working with this Citrine. Oh gosh, sorry guys. I gotta stop being so clumsy. And then for pile 3, we are working with this Tiger's Eye sphere. So pretty. So let's go ahead and take a deep breath. Think about this particular job that you're curious about. Choose the card or crystal you're feeling the most intuitively connected to, really choosing with your gut instincts versus your eyes. And once you've made your choice, go ahead and scroll down to the description box below where you can locate the timestamp that will take you to your reading. See you there. Hey there, pile 1. If you guys picked out this Selenite satin spar crystal, this is going to be your energy check-in on any job that you're curious about. Let's just see kind of the status of the job. Then we'll go into how you did during the interview. We'll look at when you're going to hear news about it, and then close it out with how you'll feel if you get this job. So starting us off here with kind of the current energy position of this job, we start things off with Mercury. We have the World, okay. And then we have Under the Radar coming through. In fact, hold on guys, I need to adjust my camera. Sorry guys, I just know I'm going to need more space here. So, wow, okay, so pile 1. This job that you're inquiring about, what I feel currently, just kind of where it generally stands, is that it feels like this place of employment has reached a conclusion around like who it is that they want to offer the job to. They feel as though like it's kind of like they're closing it out. They're closing out the interview process. They've reached their kind of like final destination. And I see here that they're ready to communicate with whoever it is that they've picked, okay? But I also see here with Under the Radar here that they're doing this in a more subtle, discreet way. So I feel like obviously for the person getting the job, they're going to know that they got it. In fact, for some of you guys, I'm almost getting that they've already offered the job to someone and they've done it under the radar where they haven't necessarily told the other applicants yet that they haven't been picked. I feel like that could be a scenario coming through for some of you guys. I'm also getting too that, like, you know, typically Mercury is when we are quickly moving, right? But with under the radar here, I almost feel like there's a little bit of slowness for some of these places that I'm tapping into as well. Like they're trying to be very cautious and careful about the way that they're communicating the conclusion that they've reached. So let's get some more insight here for you, Group 1. I want to just take a look and see how you were perceived during the interview process. So this will kind of give you some feedback around like how you did and how you came across to the people who were interviewing you. Okay, so for Group 1, how are they perceived during this interview, please? So we have a Knight of Swords. We have a Two of Cups. Always good to see that. And then we have a Three of Swords. Interesting. So I definitely feel that this company, like, or I'm saying company just kind of as a default, you guys, but I realize some of you guys might be interviewing with like different types of positions or organizations. So just kind of bear that in mind. But I definitely feel like you guys were perceived as being very ambitious. I think that you came across as being very goal-oriented, probably very well communicated in the sense that, like, I feel like your communication was very, like, honest, maybe even blunt, just very clear about what it was that you were looking for and what you were wanting. You definitely came across as being very, like, driven and motivated and action-oriented. I definitely feel that this place of business or this whoever was interviewing you, like, with the Two of Cups, this is good because this is kind of all about like being on the same page, right? So I definitely think that you came across as someone that was like willing to get on the same page. You came across as somebody who was maybe good with teamwork or willing to compromise, willing to kind of meet others where they are, really good at coming together with others. We also have a couple other messages here about like beneficial connections and work-life balance. So it's like for some of you, there could have been like a beneficial connection, like a person you know in your network that got you this interview. So they're kind of associating you with that person, that familiar person. For others of you, work-life balance is coming through as well, where it's like maybe you guys had a lot of conversation during this interview or questions around work-life balance. I feel that with the Three of Swords here, maybe you came across, like, I feel like some of you guys maybe shared a little bit about, like, maybe a recent situation that you've gone through, like, maybe about, like, maybe some of you guys were, like, recently laid off or you've been dealing with some sort of setback with regard to career. Whatever this setback was, whatever unpleasant thing you've been going through, I do feel that this was vocalized during the interview process. The people who interviewed you were left with this as an impression about like who you are. So it must have been brought up at some point in a way that left an impact. Yeah. I want to look to see next. I want to see, where is it? Here it is. I also see here at the bottom of the deck, you guys have the Seven of Wands. This is all about kind of like, this is like pushing through, holding your own, defending yourself. So maybe like around this Three of Swords energy, like there was some sort of like explanation that you were sharing around like the setback, or maybe even a little bit of like sticking up for yourself around like whatever this was. So I see this almost as like maybe there's a gap in your resume or something like that, or they're asking you, why are you looking for a job? And you say, well, it's because I was laid off or whatever, but it's like you have a reason why it happened that you're trying to convey to them. I also feel like there's some good things here too, like coming across as being able to hold your own and push through adversity. That also comes through with this Knight of Swords. So you guys definitely came across as someone that was very driven and ambitious, and like someone who's able to like overcome obstacles in life and kind of keep pushing. I want to see for you guys when you will hear communication from this position. So, you know, it's hard to say. I don't want to like predict out specifically whether or not you guys will get the job, because it's like like I said in the intro, like energy is always changing and the future is not set in stone. But at least here we can look to see when you may receive some specific communication from this job so that you know. So we have morning. So a morning time is being highlighted here. We also have the month of April coming up. I'll pull one more. And then we have Capricorn season. So those are our time frames that are being highlighted. We have when you release attachment to outcomes coming up on the bottom. So for some of you guys, this is sort of an energetic thing where it's like the more you're clinging on to wanting to know about the outcome of the job, the more you're energetically pushing it away, right? So I feel like as soon as you guys are able to like let it go and just like not care anymore, if that makes sense, like the faster this is going to come through for you. But these are the time frames that we're seeing that are being highlighted here. Oops, sorry. So let's take a look now at, I want to see like how would you guys, how would you feel if you got this job? So meaning like if you were offered the job, like how would it go? You know what I mean? So what would the experience be like for you if you were to get this job for pile number one? Sometimes it's good to like tap into this too, because there could be certain things that like, you know, like companies, just like interviewers, like interviewees, like they're always going to present like the good stuff to you. They're not always going to tell you like the tea, you know, like the real stuff. So I think it's good to check and see like what would you experience and how would you feel if you got this role for real. For group one, let's take a look. So we have the Death card, the Seven of Wands, we also have the King of Swords. You know, I definitely feel like this is a job that I think is going to require you guys to really push forth a lot of effort. So that's really going to depend on your personality, whether or not that's something that you like. I know for me personally, I don't like to feel a lot of pressure in my jobs. Like I want to feel like I can come in and put forth a valiant effort, but I never want to feel like I have to push or force anything. That's just me though. So for you guys, I definitely see that like something within this position that you've applied for is going to require you to really exert a lot of effort and energy. Maybe like, you know, it talks about holding your own. Like I feel like you're going to have to be very independent in this job. It doesn't seem like there would be a lot of support given from what I see. Because look at this. I was just drawn to this. Do you see how he's like falling? There's a target here and he's like falling through this crack and he's like trying to push himself back up. So it's like, I almost wonder, you guys, if this place of business or this organization that you're applying to is kind of like, I feel like they're moving through some sort of a change right now. Like they're transforming something about the organization, which would make sense as well with the World card being here, because like they're sort of concluding something within the cycle of the place of work. You know, so it's like, I think that there's going to have to be someone, whatever job you applied for, I feel like has to be able to manage through change, inevitable change, you know, and it's probably change for the better, I would hope. But I think it's going to require someone that's really able to exert a lot of effort and energy. We have the Wheel of Fortune here at the bottom too, so I almost feel like taking risks is something for some of you in this job. This also talks about new cycles, but it talks about change, a turning point, right? I definitely see here with the King of Swords, this can be your energy that would be required in the job, or it could be like just maybe a boss in this job. But there's definitely this energy here of like, look at this, high standards, right? The King of Swords has very high standards. It's a very logical, cerebral, kind of intellectual energy. It's very head over heart. You know what I mean? So everything is going to be very intellectual in this job. Everything is going to be very logical in this job. It's going to require you to have to use your brain, obviously, like everything, but you guys get what I mean. It's more of that mental energy versus like passion or love. For some of you, this could be like a legal type of position too. But the cool thing about the King of Swords, it does talk about fairness, so fairness is always good to have. And fairness, you do have to be logical to really exude that. So let's get a couple more for you. Pile 1. How would they feel if they got this position? What would it be like for them? We have walking away. That's interesting. And then we have community. Well, that's good to see. Look at this, action. Yeah, you guys are going to have to put forth a lot of effort is what I feel. So it's like with walking away with the death card, it's like, I also think that there's something within like you guys' energy of like you guys are also transitioning when it comes to your career right now, because walking away with the death card is telling me that there's this change that you're welcoming into your life. I feel like a lot of you guys would be like, obviously, when you go to a new job, you're leaving the old one behind, but it feels bigger than that. It almost feels like this is a major career transition or something for some of you, where you're really like, you're walking away from something, you're turning your back on something in order to embrace this newness. The cool thing here, though, with community is that I do see that there's like-minded individuals around you. I do think that this is going to be a workplace where teamwork is valued. But I think it's a sense of trying to build that familiarity with one another, that kind of welcoming, celebratory environment. So you may find that you're working really hard, but maybe you really enjoy the people who you work with, or the community that you're working with is going to become very important to the success that you achieve. So let's just close it out, group 1, with one more message of advice for you as you move forward on your career path and your career search. Woo. One more message of guidance or advice for group number 1. Letting go. Allow the wisdom to remain, but the sting I shall never feel again. Yeah, okay. So we got this a couple times, right? Like in your messages, you guys. You have so many messages about conclusions, walking away, when you release the attachment to outcomes, right? So I feel the message is twofold. I feel number 1, you guys need to like release this situation, this job, this like wanting to know about like what's going to happen within this role. Okay? But the other thing I feel is like there's also something bigger I feel that you all are being guided to release right now. So like, remember when we were looking at how you came across in the interview and we got the 3 of Swords indicating a career setback? There's something around that setback, that change, that you guys are still needing to release the sting from, because it did come across in your interview. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's a bad thing, but it is showing that it's leaving an impression on someone that's interviewing you for roles, potentially. So you just have to kind of sit with yourself and maybe ask, is that the impression that I want to leave, that I'm still kind of stuck on the past? Or do I want to leave an impression of maybe being a little bit more future forward? So group 1, this was a really cool reading. Thank you so much for taking the time to view. I would really love to hear from you in the comments, like what's going on with this job that you've applied for and what aspects do you feel apply to your situation. So please let me know. If you're not already, please do subscribe to the channel, hit the bell. This way you guys are aware of when I'm uploading new content, and I'll see you in a new one very soon. Bye. Hey there, group 2. If you guys picked the Citrine, this is going to be your energy check-in about this job that you've applied for. We're going to kick things off by starting off with kind of like a status update, or kind of just looking at the current position of where things are at with the job itself, the company, and then we'll kind of look into how you came across in the interview, timelines of when you can expect to hear back, and then we'll also look at like if you got this job, hypothetically, how would it feel for you? So starting us off, we have the energy of Libra. Okay. We have the Five of Pentacles. And then we have work-life balance. That's interesting. So balance coming up big here. Interesting. This Five of Pentacles is kind of like, what? So this is kind of meant to embody kind of like the current position of this job in general, not necessarily how it relates to you, my viewer. It's kind of like, where are they at in the interview process? Like, what's going on behind the scenes that you don't really know about, I guess. So with Libra coming up here, there's a huge emphasis here on balancing out the scales. So it's like, for some of you guys, I feel like wherever you've applied, maybe this place of business has come across on some like temporary hardships with the Five of Pentacles, or they're moving through a time where maybe financially they're not doing so well. And so I think that there's this effort here behind the scenes to try to kind of level out and balance things out a little bit, and make sure that they're doing what is fair and just for all. So like when I talk about fairness and justice for all, the thing that we have to remember is that like justice and fairness are not always talking about doing what we want to do emotionally that brings us the most happiness. Sometimes it's just talking about doing the right thing. So doing the thing that's best when you kind of zoom the lens out and look at the big picture, even though it might not be the direction you necessarily want to go, you know that it's the fair, just thing to do for all, right? That's kind of where I see this place of business being. We also have work-life balance here. So there could be an emphasis here on like needing to, maybe with their current, employees or, whatever the situation is that they have, like needing to have balance between working, but also like living a personal life is coming through too. I'm also kind of wondering for some of you guys if this place of business behind the scenes is doing poorly because they've been struggling to maybe retain people, because maybe the situation is that they're not able to provide a work-life balance right now. If that makes sense, because it's like a lot of times when things are not going well financially, it's like that work-life balance can really go out the window. So they feel there's like a down and out energy here. They're not appearing to be doing very well. So let's take a look. I want to see for you guys, group number 2, how you came across during the interview. So what impression did you leave? How did you guys come across during the interview here? So we have a Four of Pentacles. We have an Ace of Pentacles. We have a Queen of Swords. Interesting. I definitely feel that like from a practical sense, you guys came across as being like very practical. The other thing I'm getting, you guys, is that like I feel like this Five of Pentacles can also be coming from a place of like feeling as though we cannot offer financially what people want to make. You know what I mean? So it's like there's like this low self-esteem energy that I'm picking up on with this company or whoever you're trying to work for. And I see that you guys came across as having very high, strict standards of what it was that you wanted, okay? Which is fine, you know what I mean? Like, I'm all for like, you should ask for what it is that you need. And if you need to make a certain amount of money and this company cannot meet that for you, it's like, and if you want work-life balance and this company cannot meet that, it's their loss essentially. But I feel like for you guys with the Queen of Swords here and with this Four of Pentacles, I definitely feel as though maybe there was something here around like the financial part of things where you came across as being very, very blunt about what it was that you wanted, or very clear is probably a better way of saying it. We also have some energy of like intimidating, hard to please. There's this icy energy here as well. So you guys might have come across a little bit cold. And it's kind of interesting because Libra for me is like, you know, it is an air sign, but Libra is probably, in my opinion, like the most like warm and fuzzy of the air signs. You know what I mean? Like, maybe I'm biased because my mom's a Libra, so I just think of her, but it's like Libra is kind of about like beauty and romance and, you know, fairness and justice. And it's like, I almost kind of wonder if like you guys, maybe this is a thing where maybe you guys were not like a cultural fit, because you guys come across very practical, straight shooter, which again, it's not a bad thing, right? It's all about how the other party is perceiving you. And that doesn't always mean that it's the truth, you know, of who you are. But yeah, with the Four of Pentacles, this is talking about like penny pinching, fear of change. But yeah, that's where I'm kind of getting like there's something around the salary and the money part of things that left an impression on this place of business. I do also see though that like at the bottom of the deck, you guys have the Knight of Cups. So this is all about being very charming, and like this talks about leading with the heart, creativity. So it's not that, it's like there were also some really good attributes that they felt that you had. Like I think you did come across as kind and like creative and, you know, whatever, but like there's definitely something very rigid coming across here to this place of business as well. We also have the Ace of Pentacles here. So I definitely feel as though like you came across as being willing to build, you know what I mean? You're wanting a secure offer. That came across very clearly. The Ace of Pentacles is also talking about potential. So I still think that this place of business felt that there's a lot of potential for you to be successful within this organization. But, you know, as I always say with aces is that like aces are, it's potential until we start putting effort into it, right? So I want to see, I also think for some of you guys that this company wants to give you a secure offer, but again, it's like I'm overwhelmingly getting something about salary being a hang up here. So I want to look to see like what time frame you may hear back from this place of business. So when will you hear some communication about this job? You know, I'm not going to predict out in this reading if you guys are going to get the job or not, because energy is always changing and the future is not set in stone. But at least we can look to see when communication and clarity is coming for you. So when is communication coming in for group 2? Whoop. Sorry, guys, about this position that they've applied for. So we have might not happen. Yeah. Let's get a couple more. We also have Leo season. And we have 6 months from now. We also have the month of May at the bottom. So yeah, it's interesting, guys, because we have some time frames, but we also have might not happen. And I think this kind of speaks to the current position that this company is in right now. Like, I don't know if they're really in a place where they're able to like be that professional, to be honest. Like, I don't know. Like, it's just weird what I see there. Let's take a look and see, just hypothetically, if you guys were to work for this company or get this job, how would it feel for you and what would the experience be like? Okay, so look at this. We have justice. This balance is coming through so strong. We have the Six of Pentacles. And we have the Eight of Swords. Yeah, so it's like, is this a job? You guys let me know. Like, is this a job where it's like in the legal field? Because that is coming through like overwhelmingly. You know, I think that if you guys went into this job, I feel like it would just be kind of like status quo. Like, not status quo, but it would just feel kind of neutral, you know? Like, you'd be fulfilling your contract. I think there would also be kind of this energy of like weighing, like the card says, weighing factors. Like, what are the pros and cons of me really being here? I really don't know if this looks the most exciting or happy. You know, it feels very like I'm going to put in effort, and I'm only going to put in as much effort as my work-life balance needs allow. You know what I mean? Because you guys also have the Eight of Swords, which is talking about feeling restricted or a mental prison. I don't know if this position would be as like mentally stimulating for you as you would need. And I feel like there'd just be this energy of just feeling trapped. Like, look at how he's like chained here to this like credit card. You know, it's like you guys might get a little bit of a pay increase or something, but like the work you're doing, it just feels so like blah to me. Let's clarify. You guys might think, oh, this is the right thing, like this is the fair thing that I was picked, but let's see. Woman holding a coin. Yeah, so it's like the money. I think the money would be good. I also think this is, you would have like a lot of responsibilities that you would have to do. You guys also have the third chakra being highlighted here. So like you would be having to like this would give you the opportunity to really work on building your confidence a little bit more. And there would definitely be a push. Like you would have to exert a lot of effort into like confidently getting things done. You know, and that kind of links up to that Eight of Swords, because a lot of times with the Eight of Swords, this is when we're kind of like in our own mental prison. You know, it's not necessarily like being inflicted on us. It's like we feel stuck because of our own limitations. So it's like, I definitely think from like a lesson perspective, and that could be what Justice is talking about as well, but I think from like a lessons perspective, you guys would be like learning how to be more confident in yourself and to not allow self-limiting beliefs to keep you stuck is what I feel. I do see with the Six of Pentacles, there is support here as well, which is good. And you guys have the Lovers at the bottom of the deck. So this is all about beneficial partnerships and going off after a common goal. Just kind of feels like there's some delays here with this company like communicating with you. So let's close it out, you guys. We're going to pull one more message for you about like advice just regarding what you should do moving forward on your job search journey. Your career journey. We have health. Mother Earth sweet, Mother Earth bright, bring me to your health and might. So this is about physical health, mental health. You know, I think that like for you guys, it definitely feels as though like mental health and work-life balance should be very important. Having balance in general should be very important to any job you take. And so I feel like what Spirit is saying is like you don't want to compromise on that. You know what I mean? Like I think that as you move forward, I think continue to weigh the options, right? Continue to look for balance of like, can this position offer me the money I'm looking for with the other, like with other things in my life still being able to balance itself out? Like, do I enjoy the work for the money that I'm getting paid? You know, do I have enough free time to do the things in my own personal life that I want to do? And really making sure that you're looking for environments that are conducive to you having a positive mental health and physical health experience as well. I feel like for some of you guys, like work-life balance might be really important because, you know, certain jobs can be very like strenuous in the sense that like when we dedicate our whole life to being in a certain place at a certain time every day, our own physical needs can sometimes go like by the wayside. So I think that Spirit is wanting you to keep your physical health and your mental health at the top of mind as you move forward, whether it ends up being with this role or others down the line. So Pile 2, I think we'll go ahead and close it out there, but I would really love to hear from you in the comments, like what aspects of the reading really resonated with you. So please let me know down below. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to view today's reading, and I will see you in a new one very soon. Bye. Hey there, pile number 3. If you guys picked out this beautiful tiger's eye sphere, let's go ahead and get your energy check-in around this job that you guys have applied for. So starting things off, we're going to open things up with kind of like the current position, like where the job is at this point in terms of like the hiring process and what's going on. Then we'll transition into how you guys did during the interview, how you were perceived. We'll take a look at any specific time frames around when you might receive communication from this job. And then we'll look at like how you would feel if you got the job itself. So let's take a look. Overall energy, we have Scorpio, investigate, okay. We have the Hierophant. And then we have emotional intelligence. So what I feel right now is that this job that you guys have applied for, I feel like this company, organization, person you interviewed with, it's almost like they are trying to like really dig deep. I'm almost getting the sense of like they're doing like background checks, or they're just looking a little bit deeper into candidates, okay, with that investigative energy of Scorpio. Like think of Scorpio as like we're going a lot deeper beneath the surface. So it's like I do feel that there's a need here to hire someone that isn't just like a surface level person. They're wanting to hire somebody who has emotional intelligence. They're wanting to hire someone that has deeper, kind of the ability to go deeper and get to root causes of problems versus just kind of skimming over the surface, right? So I think like if things have been moving slowly, I do think it's because of this like they're trying to do like a very thorough job of exploring candidates in a much more meaningful way. I feel like with the Hierophant card being here, like for some of you guys, this could be like a very established organization that just has like very specific ways and processes and procedures around doing things that they're honoring right now. This could be like a governmental organization or something like that. This could also be like a religious organization or something like that for some of you. But values are really important. Like this is going to be an organization or a company where like they have very strong values. And I feel as though they're wanting to ensure that whoever they're bringing into the company is going to align with those values on a really deep and meaningful level. Okay, like cultural fit is coming through. Also with integrity, you know, this could also be talking about like digging deeper into the backgrounds of their candidates to make sure that like there's no sort of lapses of judgment in the past or, you know, things like that. I don't know. Like that's just the energy I'm getting. It's like they feel like they're really searching for someone that is bringing a sense of depth. And emotional intelligence is really important, you guys, because like it's very much about being able to understand and relate to others on a deeper way, in a deeper way, and understand like why certain people might be doing something a certain way or feeling a certain way. And there's just so many different facets of it. So it feels like they're really trying to hire someone who's able to exhibit that skill of emotional intelligence. Scorpio is also a water sign, right? You know, so that makes a lot of sense. But let's take a look and see kind of how you guys came across during the interview process. Like, how did they perceive you? So we have a Six of Swords. We have the Devil flying out. We have a Nine of Swords. I definitely think with the Ace of Wands at the bottom that you guys kind of like, you came across as very like creative. Maybe you presented an idea to this company that was kind of refreshing and outside of the box that sort of got them thinking. The other thing I'm picking up on, you guys, is that with this energy here is that this is a person or company you interviewed for that has a high level of emotional intelligence and intuition here. I think that they were picking up on a couple things. I think you guys that like with the Devil and the Nine of Swords coming up side by side here, I feel like perhaps you guys might have come across as being a little bit kind of wrapped up in like a toxic workplace. And I don't know if you guys are interviewing at your current place of work or if you're like an external candidate that's been dealing with a toxic work environment, but like there was something about the way that you guys came across that this person felt like you were a little bit maybe hooked into something that isn't serving you right now. It's interesting with the Devil card here talking about abandoned principles, because you can see here that like values and integrity are very important to this place of business, this organization. So there's something about you that has come across as like maybe you don't have the same principles as them. And so this might not be the most seamless fit, if that makes sense. The Nine of Swords is interesting too. I think that for a lot of you guys, maybe you came across as just being a little bit nervous or anxious, which is like totally normal during an interview. You know what I mean? I mean, I get nervous during interviews too. So I think if you guys were feeling nervous or anxious during this interview, that probably came across. The Nine of Swords is also talking about like overthinking things too. So maybe there was like a preoccupation or like obsession here with the Devil with something specific that you were wanting to know or wanting to talk about here. I do think with the Six of Swords is that you guys did present yourselves as wanting a change. So if you guys are dealing with like a toxic work environment and that was discussed during this interview, it's like you definitely came across as someone that wanted to sort of move away from that and you're wanting like a less stressful situation to be in. Maybe you guys discussed taking like vacation time or holidays during this interview as well, and that was something that resonated with them. I kind of want to clarify the Devil card because it's throwing me off a little bit. Like, for some of you guys, I'm wondering if this is like your current place of work and you're trying to go for like a change or a promotion, like a change in position. So I want to clarify the Devil card, please. What is this Devil card? How did pile 3 come across during their interview for this job? Queen of Pentacles. So there's something around the money of piece of things. I'm also wondering if there's an issue here with like overworking in a sense with the Devil, like because the Devil can also talk about like working too much, like being a workaholic in a sense, which would make sense with that Queen of Pentacles being there. It's like not having the best boundaries between work and personal and kind of allowing things to sort of mesh together too much. I feel like that could be the issue with the Devil card too. And maybe it's not even an issue. It just could just be an observation that they had. Because I definitely see that you guys came across as being someone who is a leader and someone that can, you know, it says like busy bee, resourceful, can do it all. But then with it clarifying the Devil, it's making me feel like it's workaholic stuff, which would make sense why there would be anxiety here that came through. So I want to look and see when you guys will hear from this place. So we're not going to look and see like, did you get the job? Because energy is always changing and the future is not set in stone. But at least we can look to see when you all may expect to hear from them. So let's go ahead and see. We're going to pull a few of these. So we have winter season. When you release attachment to outcomes, okay. You know, the devil talks about attachments as well. And then we also have the full moon. And we have sunset at the bottom. So I think there's definitely a need here, you guys, to like release this and don't obsess over it, because I do think that that might have come across in your interview for some of you. But the thing is like when we're so wrapped up in the outcome of what we want it to be and how we want it to look, we're almost like energetically pushing it away. You know what I mean? So if you guys are wanting to hear faster, I know it's probably easier said than done, but like it's almost like you need to sort of like put this out of your mind in a way. Let's look and see for group number 3, how would you guys feel if you got this job? Like what would the experience be like for you if you got the job? And this is just hypothetical. So we have a Queen of Cups. We have a Knight of Cups. Aw. And we have a Queen of Pentacles. There it is again. So there's like partnership stuff here where you'll be working with others. I'm seeing a lot of like leadership coming through with both of these queens here. Like, I think that you guys would have a really good balance between like being emotionally fulfilled, but also feeling like you're getting the money that you want, or feeling like you have a lot of things that you're responsible for that you're practically taking care of. I think a lot of you guys, this is something that you would have a nice like emotional connection to, which I think makes sense with the Devil card coming up, because it's like the Devil is, you know, like it almost feels like you guys just really want this really badly, because there's this, you know, that there's emotional fulfillment to be had here. The Knight of Cups is great because it's like you get to be creative in a job like this. Again, it's about like being emotionally connected to the work. This is also about kind of like spreading sunshine or being like that person to, it's a like persuasive charm. So like getting to build relationships with people through your personality. I also think with the Queen of Cups, like this indicates like support, like emotional support as well. So whether it's you providing that emotional support or you receiving it from someone else, it feels like this would be a role where there's a lot of emotional support and you would be taken care of financially. So let's get a couple more here for group 2 or group 3, sorry. Journey. Patience, yeah. Look at this, woman holding a coin here. So that's kind of like the Queen of Pentacles, right? Like you would be very responsible. Like you would have a lot of responsibilities in this job. I feel like this would be something new for a lot of you with the Journey card. Like, you know, that would make sense if you guys already work at this company and you're trying to transition into something different. But either way, it's sort of like giving me the impression that this would be something new where you get to learn and grow your skills. And with patience coming up here, it kind of makes sense with like this coming up, but you know, this is all about like allowing things to happen in divine timing, right? Allowing things to happen in their own time, kind of taking things slow, you know, versus like rushing around. And that's all nice because it's like, what I get from the patience card too is that this could be a job where it's like low pressure, you know, like where you get to kind of take your time on things versus like being expected to like go, go, go all the time. I'm also getting putting out fires for some of you. Maybe this is like HR or something. But let's get some advice for you, group 3, just to close it out. So what does group 3 need to know as they continue on their job search? Sorry, guys. Romance. This says, romance, it is a sacred power. Let it come to me this hour. So this is about continuing to look for roles that you love, that bring you that emotional fulfillment, like we're seeing here with this job. We also have best possible decision at the bottom. So this is about like maybe knowing deep down that the best possible decision for you is to do something that brings you love and emotional fulfillment, and it kind of really aligns with your purpose. So whether that is this job or it ends up being something else, I feel like Spirit is just wanting you to anchor yourself in this going forward as you continue to search for jobs. So pile 3, we're going to go ahead and close things out there, but I would love to hear from you in the comments how this reading resonates. So drop me a comment below. Let me know which aspects match your situation. If you're not already, please do subscribe to the channel and hit the bell so that you all are aware of whenever I'm uploading new content. I'll see you in a new one really soon. Bye.